GM, welcome to another Touchgrass podcast episode. We have a special one today. We have Justin, the co-founder of Giggles. If you spend a lot of time on crypto Twitter like me, you've probably seen them on the timeline last week with the fundraise announcement. Justin, congratulations and welcome to the show.
Yeah, appreciate it. We had it a while ago, but we got a lot of creators to appreciate it.
Awesome. I think the number one question that everyone had on the timeline was, well, there were two or three questions, and we can get into the Giggles vision in a minute. Talk to us about the story of settling on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as the fundraise amount.
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of like starting as a meme app, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is like a funny number. That's like approximately how much we raised, and we talked to 1K. It's like, okay, let's just do that. TechCrunch, and I guess TechCrunch kind of became a viral thing in sort of the tech space and the crypto space. But that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Cool. Justin, sort of lay the groundwork for this episode. I think a lot of people don't know your story. I think probably best let's start with the Giggles vision first, or we can start with your background first as well. Like whatever you think is most relevant to build up to that story. Obviously, I've done a lot of research. Our viewers probably haven't. So give us some foundation, and then we'll sort of deep dive.
So I guess like one-liner for Giggles is sort of a market for the world's information, and we're sort of starting with basically TikTok-style social media app where all the content is tradable. And our idea is basically people sort of trading on, what might go viral ends up actually organizing information and showing what's relevant to the world. And we think it'll be a really cool experience for just users, creators, advertisers, and us as a platform. So that's the background there. Maybe the TechCrunch article kind of goes into like the original story from like 2023. But yeah, on myself, in elementary school, I was like tested for like special ed or something, and I had like a pretty high IQ, so I got put into like some pretty rigorous math programs and chess as a kid. And my parents were pretty strict. And I wouldn't say I hated math or anything like that, but it didn't seem very applicable to the real world. I started getting into a game called Minecraft, specifically a server called Hypixel Skyblock, and my parents let me play like 30 minutes of video games every day. And that's obviously not enough to become the best. And like, I guess like when I want to do something, I try to be the best at it. And so I would play like 4 hours at night, sleep 4 hours a day before I go to school. And I started becoming like one of the more well-known players just by like being good at getting rich on the platform. That's how I met my co-founder originally. But yeah, I started like making YouTube videos. And then like a month into that, I had like 10,000 subscribers. Next month, I had like 30,000. And by this point, I was making like minimum wage, and I was 13 at the time. But I couldn't actually withdraw the money because I was 13. So I confessed to my parents, like, guys, I'm making a channel. I'm making some money. I want to do stuff on the internet. I love the internet. I don't want to do math programs anymore. And they like finally agreed to that. That's pretty emotional. But yeah, a year into YouTube, I had like 100K subscribers. I was also doing dropshipping at the time. That was like how I made my first like 6 figures sort of. I also did stuff like making TikTok music on Spotify, and I had like 20 million streams on that. My co-founder, he raised 200K for his social food delivery app. And I ended up starting a company called Media Baby, and we would essentially like control all the brain rot on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. Like we were getting billions of views every month. We were one of the top publishers. We consulted a bunch of pretty big companies that ranges from like OKX, like JP Morgan and stuff like that. Ended up kind of exiting that business last year in January. And Giggle started as sort of like I think the way that one thing I learned is like the internet has a lot more to do. Like we kind of have the internet that's like half created, and we just need a new native grammar for it. Like right now the grammar is like, okay, views and impressions and likes. I think money should be like the next sort of way the internet is communicated. And I've thought about that for like the last like 6 years. And then so Giggle sort of started as a meme. People were trying to find TikTok alternative. And that got like 100,000 visits in a day. And
that's like during like I remember seeing this on Twitter during like the TikTok ban rumors that were happening I think like months ago. That's sort of the right timeline.
It was specifically on January, I think 20th, 2025, that we got 100,000 visits because a few tweets went viral, and like everybody was just talking about it in like their their friends and stuff like that. But yeah.
Cool. What would you say is like the craziest part of that story?
Like Giggle starting, or
Like in general, everything you've done so far.
I mean, I think it's sort of just revealed to me that a lot of the internet right now is just, well, I think the internet right now is a very crude model of sort of people paying for attention and trading attention, if that makes sense. I think news media right now is completely falling apart. The way that they monetize is literally just using their brand and people buying sponsored posts on that. The way that the bestseller list works, I mean, you can like literally buy yourself into a bestseller list, and then your creators aren't making money. And I just found that like everything is so inefficient, and it makes me kind of annoyed. And I really want to change something about that. And like right now, like I'm on TikTok, I just scroll and I get nothing out of it. People right now are literally commenting, investing in this video early, or like, I'm here before viral. And I want to give people like the opportunity to make money doing that. Obviously AI is going to replace a bunch of different jobs. But that just means people, like, one thing that can't replace is like people's attention and like their desire to sort of find stuff made by other like people, right? And I want to be a platform for that, where that can like monetize efficiently. Because the reality is like what people are going to college for now is just not very relevant to what I think the look like in 5 years.
That makes sense. And then, Justin, where in this journey did you find crypto? Like you talked about the drop shipping stuff, the YouTube stuff, the Minecraft stuff. Like, was crypto sort of just an adjacent that was always there in the background?
I would say I think I wouldn't index too heavily on crypto, but I would say it enables a lot of different things. Like obviously I love stable coins and it's found product market fit there. But so one thing I like doing on Minecraft was like collecting armors, like rare armors, and that was like kind of NFTs. And I ended up starting collecting some of like the monkey NFTs. And in terms of like buying crypto, I like bought Solana before that, right after the FTX track crash. That was like, I guess, profitable. But like the reason we kind of use crypto is just because it makes things like so much more efficient, right? We use stable coins for our app. All like the contracts just make everything super fast, right? Like when you trade on Giggles, it trades in like I think like 20 milliseconds.
Yeah.
But with crypto.
That makes sense. And then sort of talk to me through like, going from running something in the traditional world to now running what I would say is like a pretty crypto adjacent business. I would assume the fundraising experience must have been like completely new to you in terms of just like crypto fundraising. You see a lot of the timeline talk about how like VCs aren't investing right now. And then, out of the blue, we see Giggles raise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How was your fundraising experience going through all of that?
Well, Peter originally reached out, and that stuff is all in the tech article. But I really enjoy working with them. Their team is really great to work with. So we obviously did like sort of fundraising process, and there's other funds that kind of like did due diligence and stuff with. But I would say like it doesn't matter who your VC is, and like they do actually have to have like extreme conviction. And I think Peter and Jacob, who I kind of work with like every week or quite often now, they have like extreme conviction in us. And the reality is like when we started, like my co-founder and I, we were just in a hotel room, literally, and we were just logged in, and that costed us like maybe, I don't know, like 2-3K a month just for food and stuff. You don't need to raise until you like it's very clear on what you want to do, and you want to build a team for that. Like right now, I don't really even take a salary. My co-founder doesn't take a salary. We just like have to pay people, right? We have to pay for crypto infrastructure and infrastructure stuff like that. Like the goal was never just to raise. We just need to raise. We just need to raise because we need to like accelerate stuff, and we're probably going to raise soon, just because like we want to grow. But yeah, obviously the market right now isn't great or whatever, but just build, I guess. I don't know.
Would you sort of categorize Giggles as more of a social interaction? Like I've seen a lot of people on crypto Twitter, and VCs in general talk about how crypto social is dead. Obviously, 1KX and Peter don't agree with that thesis, and we've had that conversation many times. What do you think about the social crypto app landscape right now? Like, there's the base app that's pivoted into more of a trading terminal. Do you have any thoughts on that landscape in particular?
Because this is public, I'm not going to say too much. But what I'll say is this: um, it's literally only now where sort of the behavioral, the infrastructure, and legal have actually aligned. If you go back, like even just 2 years, a lot of these infrastructure things haven't matured yet. And I don't want to like talk about it too much, but one thing that we really want to focus on is just content. Like, how do we get people? I mean, the thing is, like, if you have Phantom or Coinbase or whatever, you open it maybe like once a day. You open it for like 2 minutes. That's like we're really thinking about what the average person does, not really like obviously crypto. People on crypto are really important and they've been super helpful and everything. But we want to get like billions of people on the platform. What do they do? Maybe with Phantom or Coinbase, they open it for like 1 or 2 minutes every day, and that's it, right? How do we get people to be on the platform for a long time? And part of the mission is sort of to inspire creativity, right? And how do you get them to like make content with their friends and connect with people and like make money, right? So yeah, I would say that's sort of what we're focused on.
That makes sense. But during the fundraising process, was that sort of part of a pushback when you were talking to other VCs apart from Peter and 1KX?
I mean, yeah, 100%. But I think obviously the consumer crypto social space has been completely burnt. But I can list out like we have internally deep memos on why every product right now or every product in the past just did not work. It's very clear to us why they didn't work, and we're pretty confident that and we're going to launch soon, right? And we won't push on marketing too heavily.
I'm reaching, but like, is there any sort of insight, like overarching insight that you can share, like apart from the legal, like the infrastructure stuff being aligned? Like, is there anything else that you think deeply did not work with crypto social that you want to say?
Okay, I'll say one thing. And these founders need to actually use their app for more than an hour and try to like not hate it. I'm very like, and that like that goes for kind of two things. Like, first of all, it's like just horrible, like a horrible content experience. There's something more of it, and the other thing is like your phone heats up if you use Pump Fund for more than 5 minutes. Like, come on, man, you have a 50-person team, just do better. Like, you can't scroll where your phone is like heating like crazy. Yeah.
That makes sense. So where do we go from here? I've been reading a lot about and sort of thinking about the markets create the algorithm stuff that you've been sharing. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, will the virality of something on the platform be directly correlated to how much bidding there is or financial interest? Like, how are you thinking about that? Not giving too much away, just bare bones.
Yeah, I mean, we spent a bunch of time like working on the algorithm stuff, right? And sort of the broader thesis is like, okay, if people are betting on what's viral, which is kind of what they're doing right now with likes, but in a weird way, then it'll like organize what's actually important. And so yeah, like kind of the price does influence like what if it is shown more on the platform. But people want to see the content that they actually like, so we have like personalization there as well. But like what we're really focusing on is like providing an experience for users that they can't find anywhere else. And if they just want to watch content, that's totally fine too, right? And so that's where the content part comes in. Like, how do we get the everyday person to create content? Because that's what really matters right now. Like on TikTok, you don't really see like I don't care about seeing Mr. Beast. I see a clip version of Mr. Beast, or I see some random person making a TikTok. So how do we get the average person to like make some money and just use it as a platform instead? And how do we this is more down the line, but how do we give advertisers a better ROI? Because the CAC right now, or the ROI on just meta ads has been declining, and that's why you see the growth of the UGC market and stuff like that. And I think the best version of UGC we saw was user generated assets, and that's kind of like what we want to be.
That makes sense. Do you yourself have a current social media platform that you spend the most time on? Like, is Giggles going to be sort of branded or inspired from one of these interactions, or is it going to be like something else completely?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't want to say too much exactly about how we're sort of going to market over the next few months, but yeah, I personally use TikTok and Instagram Reels predominantly. Our team is sort of the same. For me, it's like our whole team is like very internet native. And yeah, like we just use TikTok and Instagram Reels. Like other countries use Shorts, but the reality is like people that are sort of younger in America tend to use those platforms more, and we have a lot of reasons why.
That makes sense. So I would assume the GTM first starts with the States, or are you targeting other countries as well?
Yeah, the States.
Awesome. Talk to us a little bit about, what does success for Giggles V1 look like, and like what's like the broader vision? Like, obviously like financially social media seems like a pretty big task. Like, how are we breaking that down in V1 in particular?
Yeah, I mean,
What are
sort
some
of,
things they can expect out of this when they sort of see it for the first time?
yeah. Well, number one, if you're a normal person, um, it'll be a content viewing experience. You watch it and you'll just have great content. Like that's the baseline. But a few numbers that we're kind of focused on is like, okay, retention, right? Like how do we get people to stay on for, like kind of go on every day, and then we look at like how long they spend on the platform. And the other part of it is like how much trading volume do they do on average, right? So I guess like those are sort of the numbers we're looking for, and I guess like this year's goal, we want to get to like 10 million monthly average users, and I mean that kind of like really like we're just very focused on just getting average people to be on the platform. If that makes sense. But that's for this year. We want to just be a TikTok style platform where people really like. And the broader vision for us is like basically be a market for the world's information. And like we want to replace like Google and like Instagram and all that. Anything where people are kind of finding information, I think it should be priced, and I think it could just be a lot better for everybody.
That makes sense. Is there an aspect of prediction markets that comes in here, or is this going to be something totally different?
I mean, the prediction markets aspect is like this audience overlap, of course, right? Polymarket is like stablecoins, so I guess it's that overlap. So people who are native will obviously use it more. And I would say it's just like sort of the broader sort of people are just trading a lot of stuff now, and the reason for that is sort of like financial nihilism, right? How do you break out the matrix? As weird as that sounds, but like genuinely, right? Like the people are sort of realizing that now, like, okay, college doesn't really matter. The only reason I go to college is for the network. But there's so much stuff you can do on the internet. I learned everything on the internet. I learned like order books and all that stuff through Minecraft. And that's what happened to like the new generation. And I think what we traditionally learn is just not going to be relevant. But something that we kind of like joke about is like, can we make the most unemployed person right now like the wealthiest? So like if they're super online and they know what's going on, how do we make them like sort of get ahead?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think, specifically in India, I see a lot of people with like, I would call it hopium. Like they just start creating content if they're not doing it. Like a very common joke in India is if you get into an MBA business school, the number one thing you need to do is start creating content on how you got into business school, and you'll immediately blow up into like a business school guru. And then you can start monetizing off that. I've been reading a lot of articles on like hyper gambling, and the multi-coin guys like to call this entertainment finance. Uh, their thesis is entirely that if you can give someone the opportunity to moonshot and like do the lottery, but give them edge or make them feel like they have edge, that's where a lot of money is being made. I think what we will see is crypto social apps, like built the right way, scale beyond what we have currently, especially with all the changes that Twitter and Nikita is making on the timeline. Like a lot of crypto people are just fed up with it, and with the algorithm deboosting everything that we post, it's not healthy for the crypto ecosystem. Justin, I know we're getting closer to time. Final few questions. With your history of like going viral on all these different platforms, when you started going into like founder mode in crypto, in particular. Do you think there's something that founders miss when they do social media or their personal account or personal branding per se? Like, why isn't crypto getting out of this bubble in terms of virality? Like, why isn't it hyper liquid and like everyone's memory right now? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Um, I mean, like I guess like Pump Fund or just I mean obviously Coinbase and prediction markets have sort of hit like mainstream quite well. Um, a lot of that I guess is attributed to branding. So I guess you were asking about like the marketing thing, like,
Yeah.
and the reality is marketing is kind of a tax you pay on an imperfect product, and no one will ever have an imperfect product, but you want to get there as much as possible. And for something like us, like we have to make our product more perfect every day. Like consumers coming here, and the product is sort of the content or like the trades that happen. I mean, that's not even every day. That's like every like second for us. But I would say like I, I guess this is more like sort of just on other founders. Founder-led content is sort of helpful, um, but it really depends on like what business you're building. And I would say that look outside from Twitter maybe. Like we have found a lot of adoption just through high schools and colleges. Like every Monday, we see our traffic double just because people are talking about us, and we don't even have a product out right now, right? So just like
Is
get
that just your team on the ground targeting high schools and colleges, or is that
sorry.
more like is that more like on the ground? Your team's just doing stuff on the
No,
ground in high.
it's just word of mouth. Like we don't actually go to any high schools or colleges, right? I mean, I dropped out of college. Um, it's just people kind of like liking the concept and sort of the brand and stuff like that. And obviously, crypto has a bunch of money and a lot of people on crypto, but you have like trillions of dollars that like normal people have, and there's like 8 billion people in the world. So I guess we like kind of think bigger. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Justin, this has been awesome. Obviously, there's a lot that you can't say right now because the product isn't live. What I do want to do is get you back on when the product is live and we have sort of traction coming in. There's more noise everywhere. This episode more, structured as a get to know Justin and the story behind the fundraise and working with 1KX and all that. Thanks so much for your time. This has been awesome. I'm very excited, and yeah, best of luck for launch.
Yeah. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks, man.